Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. Excuse me. You see the thumbnail. You see the title. Let's get into it. The Chargers draft plan, 2022 draft plan. So before we even get into what the Chargers need to do in the draft, let's talk about free agency a little bit. This team, this Chargers team, there's not a whole lot of holes to fill, so to speak. The free agency moves that were made, it pretty much shored up the team, and it filled a lot of gaping holes, a lot of needs that the Chargers really had, going into the season. Obviously, the run defense was the biggest thing. They pretty much fixed that the first day. The Khalil Mack trade, somebody else to go alongside Joey Bosa, that was very big move for the Chargers as well. And I think the biggest splash move, J.C. Jackson at corner. So you get a lockdown corner, you get another elite pass rusher, and you get some big guys in the front to fill up, the defensive line and fill out the holes there, especially with the running game. So this team is pretty much set. There's not too many open positions. There's not too many positions that are up for competition. They did a really good job. Tom Telesco did a really good job of filling most of the holes that the Chargers had. Now, when it comes to the draft, I've seen a lot of talk online. I've seen a lot of mock drafts. I've seen a lot of people have a lot of different, opinions about what the Chargers should do, especially first round. The second round pick was traded, I think, in the Khalil Mack trade. So that goes to the Bears. So you got first round, third round, and then a bunch of other. I think there's like 3 or 4 seventh round picks, I believe, due to the compensatory pick system. When guys leave, you're awarded compensatory picks after guys leave. After you tender them a contract, if they don't sign it and they leave somewhere else, and you're awarded an extra draft pick. So the Chargers have enough to win now, but there are some spots in that you can address in the draft, and I think the first one being is the offensive line, particularly the right side of the offensive line. The left side is pretty much set. Rashawn Slater, one of the best rookies in the league last year, regardless of position. He really balled out at left tackle. He really exceeded all expectations of him. He came in from day one and handled business all season long. The left guard position, Matt Filer, he came over from the Steelers the year before. He had a really good season last year, especially in the run game. Man, he's a big guy, and he's nasty. And he moves mountains. He moves men, against their will. So he did a really good job. And then obviously you have, I think it's still the best center in the league, in Corey Linsley. So from center going left, that side of the offensive line is really good, really elite. Probably one of the best in the league at this point. So right now the problem with the offensive line is the right side. We've got to address the most importantly, I think, tackle position. Storm Norton, he filled in admirably last year. He was not great in that last game against the Raiders. He really got exposed with Max Crosby. I think he struggles with his feet don't look too quick, so I think he struggles with guys who are primarily speed rushers. He held up well against the bull rush guys, the power guys. He held up well against them, but the speed rush, I think, really kind of exposed him as not being good enough to play every single week at the right tackle position as a starter. So I think that the Chargers need to address that first, and I think that they should draft Trevor Penning. You see him on the thumbnail. He's a right tackle. He played I think it's FCS football. So he did. It wasn't FBS. It's not the high Division I schools with where most of the talent is coming from. This is FCS, so this is a division lower. But he's still a big guy. He's nasty. I was watching a lot of tape on him, and he is. He can plug and play. He can play day one. Now I think what the Chargers are gonna have to do if they do draft him, they're gonna have to work with him technique wise. I don't think that he is the best technician at the right tackle position, but that's something that can be taught. He has a lot of really, really good instincts as an offensive lineman, but he's not the technician. And I think when he gets overwhelmed, his go-to thing is just be aggressive and just really, really put the guy on the ground. Whoever it is that's rushing him, which is a good thing. You need some nasty on the offensive line, but technically, he is not the best right tackle. But like I said, that can be learned, so that's not really a issue. Especially with the offensive line coach that the Chargers have. The offensive line has played really, really well the past year. So I think they're going to go into this year and continue the same thing. I think they're going to be a little better. They're going to have more continuity, more reps in this offense. And I think they're going to be just as good, if not better, this coming season. So I think Trevor Penning would add a lot at right tackle. And obviously, the right guard position needs to be addressed as well, too. Now, there are some guys, I don't want to bore anybody and, go through, the top 150 draft prospects. There are some guards in there. There's some guards from the SEC who, when you look them up and when you watch them tape, they played against some of the best competition as far as college football goes. But sometimes their skills really don't adhere to the next level, or they might just be one-trick ponies. I see there's a lot of guards who are very aggressive in the run game, but kind of struggle in the pass game. So I'm not sure if the Chargers really want to go there and just throw a kid from Texas A&M, just throw him on the offensive line and say, hey, go ahead and block Aaron Donald, block J.J. Watt, block these, some of the best defensive tackles in the league. I don't think that they want to do that. I think that would be a mistake. So for right tackle, it's an easy fix. Ode Abushi was the starting right guard last season. He got injured at the 5 games through the regular season. It was the Browns game, I believe, where he got injured, and he was out for the season, torn ACL. But I think the Chargers do need to re-sign him. He was really, really good last year. He, again, similar to Matt Filer, big body, very good in the run game. He's able to move a lot of people, and even in the pass game as well too. He held up his end of the bargain there. He really played well. He was able to keep the pressure at bay. From Justin Herbert. He played really, really well, and I think the running game lost a little bit when he got hurt. So I think bringing him back would be, not only would it be economical, he's not gonna demand a lot of money. You can probably bring him back for $3 to $4 million or something like that. Draft Trevor Penning, and then you have a full functional offensive line. All 5 guys nasty. All 5 guys very, very aggressive, but they block very, they're very smart as well too. I didn't see a lot of holding penalties last year as well too. So I think the offensive line, like I said, the coaching is doing a really, really good job, and I think the Chargers can shore this up right away. In a month, you have probably going into on paper going into the season one of the best offensive lines in football. So I think that is there, and I think it would be a good, very, very good for Justin Herbert, very good for the offense, and very good for the running game. The Chargers need to get back to the running game. They need to get more into the running game coming into this season. So I think Trevor Penning, would be the perfect first-round draft pick. Now there are other issues as well too. I think the offensive line obviously is the biggest, most glaring issue that needs to be taken care of. But I think going forward, now the Chargers are at a point where they need to draft smartly for depth. Obviously, you need another running back to spell Austin Eckler, Larry Roundtree, Joshua Kelly. These guys have had, they've had success at some points, but they have not been consistent enough, to be a two-headed monster. And I think Austin Eckler, as he's a small guy. He's only 5'10", I think 205, something like that. So as he gets up there in NFL age, he's going to need somebody to spell him. He's going to need to take some carries off. He's going to need a guy to come in and be able to take 10 to 11 carries off of his plate. not just carries but touches as well too. Catches out of the backfield, blitz pickups. He's gonna need somebody reliable to come in and do that. So I think the Chargers, that's probably somewhere where they might want to go as far as the draft goes. Now I'm not sure if they want to draft a running back. There's a bunch of running backs who are out there in free agency right now who have not been signed. I've seen people talking about Melvin Gordon, the former Charger. He would. I think that he would be good again. I think knowing that he's coming up to back up Austin Eckler, I think he would be good, and he is kind of familiar with some of the guys on the team. But that could be something that the Chargers do in the draft. I think they also need to shore up the linebacker position. Linebacker was, I think, the weakest position on the team, other than the run stopping, and the linebackers have something to do with that as well too. That was probably the weakest position on the team, but I think a lot of fans and I think the coaching staff is holding out that these linebackers are going to pick up the defense, pick up the scheme in the second year. This was the first year. Last year was the first year of a new defensive scheme, switching from the 4-3 to the 3-4. So these guys, they struggled a little bit as far as the responsibilities in the run game, and particularly in the pass as well too. So, but that is something that the Chargers do need to shore up, though, especially as the season goes along. You need depth at the linebacker position. You need guys who are going to be able to hold down the fort, just in case there's any injuries. Drew Tranquil, Kenneth Murray, both those guys missed time last year. So I think that's something that the Chargers need to address going forward. That was the one position that really didn't get addressed in free agency that I thought maybe they could have, but we just seen Bobby Wagner sign with the Rams on a 5-year deal, so I think the money really wasn't there for the Chargers to address that in free agency. So that might be something that they do in the draft, but hopefully they pick the best guy. But those three areas were the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest concerns. Now, once those areas get filled, I think it's about depth. Depth at DB was a problem last year. When Michael Davis got hurt, you had Tavon Campbell come in, and he was okay, but he is not a starting cornerback by any stretch. So the depth at DB definitely needs to be taken care of, and obviously just continue to draft offensive linemen. Every team should be drafting at least 2 offensive linemen every single season, and I don't know why teams don't do this. Injuries happen. These guys are hitting somebody hard as shit every single play, that they're on the field. So you need to draft offensive linemen. You have to get in the habit of drafting offensive linemen. I think the Chargers need to do that. They need to draft offensive linemen, bring guys in, because you never know. You never know when you're going to get that diamond in the rough. You never know when you're going to get, a guy who is going to put it together and be a Pro Bowler or All Pro or whatever. But you need to draft offensive linemen, especially guys who you feel are good technically. Maybe you can tweak some things as far as technique goes, but offensive linemen, you have to have depth. That is the most important thing, especially if you want to keep your franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert. You want to keep him upright. You want to keep him injury-free. Draft offensive linemen. So that's one of the biggest things that I'm looking for in this draft. Just draft guys. Just draft them. And, there's a very low risk of drafting offensive linemen in the from round 4 all the way down to round 7. There's very little risk. There's no risk in drafting offensive linemen in the 6th round, because you're not going to expect this guy to come in and dominate, and start week 1. If he does, you probably found a diamond in the rough, but if he doesn't, there's no risk. You just go right back in the draft the following year and do the same thing. But if you keep doing it, pretty soon you're going to start finding some guys. So, and I think the Chargers have gotten to the habit of that the past couple of seasons, but that's something that I want to continue, seeing from the Chargers year in and year out. That way, guys leaving free agency, guys are playing well, commanding a high salary, they get traded, free agency, whatever it is, you can, slide these guys in, these 6th rounders, 5th rounders, slide them right in, and not miss a beat on the offensive line. And as far as the offense is concerned, so, but that's pretty much it, man. That's all. All I'm looking for in the draft. Like I said, I didn't want to go down the list of names. I know that most people are not really familiar with a lot of the college players and stuff like that, but it's just, for me, it's just the positions that I want to see filled, the glaring issues that we need to address. Tom Telesco needs to address. That's pretty much what I just want to get into there. So, but that's all I got for this one, guys. The draft is 1 month away. So I know the scouts, GMs, front office, they're going to start getting into overdrive, start doing a lot of, background work on the players, interviews, and things like that. But, 1 month away, so can't wait for it. And, it'll be here soon. But that's all I got for this one, guys. Until next time, see you later.